Hello, welcome to Walk in the Park. My name is Tony Ingram, your host, and this is episode 76 recorded on May 14th, 2014. You can see all my episodes at walkinpark.com, my vid blog. Okay, so we're going to continue a story that we've been doing for the last 2 weeks. This is part 3 of Lyme disease prevention and care, and we're going to with Becca Harber, who is a herbalist, environmental educator. She was assisted by naturopathic Dr. Deanna Berman. And this was April 24th at Green Star Market. It was a class at Green Star Market offered. And this week we will cover co-infections with Lyme disease, testing for Lyme, maintaining health, herbal medicine and Lyme, and use of pesticides. So all 3 parts of this series are going to be at walkinpark.com. So let's get right to it here.
Deanna knows more about antibiotics, but basically it seems that for the beginning stage, when after you've gotten bitten, it's not chronic Lyme, usually right away. If you get like horrendous, dramatic, or horrible things happening really quickly, there's a good chance it has to do with co-infections happening, because I've read that if you have Lyme disease and one or more co-infections, then usually you're going to suffer a lot more, a lot quicker, and that's why it's not just simple Lyme disease. But anyway, Burrascano, this is his version of reality. I mean, I think basically, generally speaking, at least in 2008, is saying doxycycline is kind of the antibiotic choice for most people at the early stage, when you've just been bitten, if you're going to do it, or you've got some symptoms. I've never taken the antibiotics just because I got bitten. I did it 2 times I had symptoms. First time I had a bullseye, and I'd already been bitten by a number of ticks that year. So, and then he gives reasons why, there are 4 categories. He basically gives the tetracyclines, which has got the doxy as one of its main ones. Penicillin category, where amoxicillin, some people are given amoxicillin, but he says that is not one he would rely on unless taken with certain other one, because it's not going to give you the strength to knock them out. And then he goes over these other 2 categories, and they have problems. So doxy seems to be the one preferred for at least the early stages. Chronic Lyme, I wasn't planning to really get into that much. I mean, a lot of the herbs for these different themes and symptoms, you might have some of these symptoms in the early stages, and then these same herbs might help you, later too, but you may need a lot more than that. Depends. And from what I've read about, and the other one I'll mention, because the spirochetes are these little corkscrew kind of microorganisms, very ancient kind of microorganism, and if you want to read amazing descriptions of what they can do, and they do, and the ticks, and what the ticks do that helps the spirochetes to spread, it's like they have this amazing cooperative kind of thing, or at least the ticks are cooperating with the spirochetes. He has descriptions from scientific research that show you how amazing they are. Their techniques to get infection to go into whoever the tick bites. So the spirochetes are very talented at changing form and evading the immune system, kind of, disabling the immune system, evading the immune system. They can turn supposedly almost instantly from a little spirochete corkscrew that can swim through your connective tissue to a cyst, which is this very protected form that antibiotics can't really do much with, or at least hardly any of them. I'm not up on all the drugs, but one of the things that Burrascano said about the cystic form is that flagell, which I knew about years ago because it was used for certain sexual, STDs, really can be very nasty in terms of your microflora and all that good stuff, but it seems to be helpful in getting the cystic form. And I'm not going to get into the other form, which is biofilms, which I don't know almost nothing about.
Don't bother.
No, but that's, yeah, this is a huge topic. The other thing I want to mention that I didn't think to put on the handouts is the absolute importance if you're taking antibiotics or even these antispirochetal, antibacterial herbs like resveratrol, Japanese knotweed, those are, one is substance in the other, or andrographis is supposed to be antispirochetal, and it's important to take probiotics to keep your flora in your gut and everything, because these things are going to probably be wiping everything out, and the antibiotics will. So it's very important for your well-being to keep putting in probiotics. And I know, I can't remember if you told me this, somebody was, or maybe it was, I don't know, but the idea is that you really take probiotics for how much long? If you take an antibiotics, you take it for how long? Months?
Yeah,
months,
you
right?
can take it for, it's also good for it's good for the immune system. It's
yeah, so you take long term.
Take it all in your life.
Yeah, I'll tell you, they're very pricey. That's a problem.
Yeah, the good ones are pricey.
The good ones. I mean, I took the 100 billion in Green Star and was like, it costs a fortune for what?
I spent a lot of time trying to figure out the cheapest probiotics.
Yeah, I did
100
too.
billion. No, it's the
I did
cheapest
too.
one.
So,
Let me just say one thing about treatment.
Yeah.
Okay, the bottom line with treatment is acute treatment is very different than chronic treatment. Acute treatment, if you can get an antibiotic, you want it, and you can definitely use herbs as well.
Mhm.
And if you don't have symptoms, you can use herbs, and then if you develop symptoms, but I wouldn't, you will develop symptoms in a short period of time generally. Unless you develop chronic Lyme, which would be more of if there's a trauma or something happens, you might develop symptoms. So that's much more complicated. But acutely, you don't want to let the symptoms go. So if you have symptoms, they develop at a time you were hiking, at any point where you might have been exposed to a tick, find somebody to work with and get a treatment. Don't wait.
Right. And that's the thing about I forgot to mention about the free clinic, is if you qualify to go to the doctors there, you don't have insurance, which I did. I went those 2 times. Not only can you see somebody, and the people there really don't know much about anything, but I did have a bullseye, so that was pretty clear, and I had to ask for the amount of antibiotics that I wanted, and then they were cooperative. But if you get to see them, then I don't know if they still do it, but the first time, I think both times, yeah, they have a special kind of paper thing they give you, and you can go to Wegmans or Tops or wherever you can go to get your drugs, and it doesn't cost a thing. Okay, 2 weeks. So since I wanted a month worth, technically I had to go back, wait for my turn, and then I got another prescription, and then I got another script so I could go back and get another 2 weeks for free. Because in the meantime, the first time the doxycycline was very low amount of money. Last year, $150 for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So the script, if you qualify to go to the free clinic, that is really helpful. You save $300 right there. Some people I know, they don't take it or they ask for the amoxicillin because it's cheap, but it doesn't sound like that's the best choice because they didn't have the money. So, let's see. How am I doing? Am I talking too fast?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a little confusing. I mean, I know that, like
Yeah.
you said, this is popular knowledge about it has to be on you for 24 hours, 36 hours, whatever.
Don't believe it.
So, I've got kids and I have
Yes.
a farm, and, you're going to find ticks on them, and you can't be, at least my opinion, pumping a 2-year-old full of antibiotics.
No,
So at what
I'm
point
not
do you,
recommending.
Okay, so there are some
At
prophylactics.
what point do you take it off, and do you wait 2 weeks? Is it 2-year-old can't even talk, so you can't.
No, I
see
would
what's
do some
going on.
prophylaxis firstly,
Yeah.
and I don't have as much experience with it, but I just happened to do this list. I'm on a listserv. Well, I'm on a couple of serves with doctors around the country and researchers that are doing research on Lyme disease, and on one with naturopaths around the country who are doing working with Lyme patients. And one of them actually suggested using a homeopathic nosode formula that is very inexpensive. I just bought a bunch of them today because I thought, oh yeah. And it's called Lyme Nosode, and I don't know if you guys can get it or if you can call me and I can get it to you. But it's just called, it's Pacific Complementary Health Formulations. I'll write it down in a minute.
Okay.
But and it's called Lyme Nosode, and you like dose it very low, like 1 drop a day, and it would be safe in children. And that's why I'm saying, like, I don't, using homeopathics in this way, we don't have much experience, but she has 20 years of doing this. That's why I trusted her opinion on this. And she said she hasn't seen any Lyme as long as you do it every day.
So something
So-
you do it before you're even ever.
Yeah, just
Oh,
do it
I
throughout
want
the
some
Lyme
of that.
season.
I
Just
want
do
some of
it.
this.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like it was so cheap. I don't remember, maybe $14 a bottle or something.
Wow.
But you know, even
Sounds
if
good.
and then, so I will be at Dr. Jones, and then I can come back and give more information to answer your question potentially, because you can't give doxycycline to a 2-year-old
No,
anyway.
right.
So
Yeah.
it's a hard thing, because even the herbs that we use, they're strong herbs. You know, we wouldn't use those in Lyme kids either. So I would probably go with using homeopathics or, you know, some of these nosodes.
So you're just saying, so this is making me happy to hear something. I'm gonna leave
I
like
know.
not totally completely depressed.
Good,
like
good.
Yeah, yeah.
if I just get, because I want my kid to play. Like I don't want to feel like I'm gonna have to duct
Got
tape her
kids.
clothes together. Like I want her to run and roll around in the grass, be a kid.
I know.
And so you're saying that you know, anecdotally, this other naturopath is saying that if you just do a drop a day as like
Yeah.
just a general well-being, that they're seeing that's hope, you know, preventing.
But also with everything that Becca has said, and I think one of the things that Becca has going for her is getting good sleep, not eating sugar, taking care of yourself, eating well, eating fermented foods, you know, all the naturopath, I'm a naturopath, all the
Yeah.
naturopathic, you know, taking care of yourself things.
Yeah.
And, you know, I mean, I argue with my daughter every day, don't eat sugar, but, you know, so, but you do the best you can, and you know, and healthy mind, healthy body, so. This is not my lecture.
No, it's okay. You're great. It's great that you're here. I feel very supported.
I will write it out.
Feel very supported by what you're sharing.
Are the limes out right now? The ticks?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
the
yeah.
ticks have started biting weeks ago. So, I mean, my friend got bitten by 3 ticks in January. She thought it was from cuddling her puppy on her neck, and she got Lyme right like that, like pretty full blown.
And how did she know? Like, did she have a symptom and then get
Yeah, I
tested,
forgot what her
or-
first one was, but she was very exhausted, but she made a connection right away. She's a nurse, and she's been doing, I forget what it is, IV. She can give herself IV treatments
Yeah,
and stuff.
ceftriaxone.
She's taking.
Yeah, if it's in the nervous system or Cephin, yeah.
Yeah, I think anytime there's no snow cover is a time when you can more likely to get
If it's
it.
over 35 degrees, you know, pretty much.
Well, but I mean, I've heard reports that snow kind of hinders them. I mean, there's snow, it's
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
tougher
yeah,
for them
sure.
to get around, yeah.
Right, oh, that's true.
And do people leave their cats out and then you go and pet
Yeah.
them? I mean,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, the other thing I wanted to mention was that Dr. Stram said at the Lyme disease panel was that one of the reasons why there are so many negatives as well, I mean false negatives for Lyme as well, is that he said they're actually, that even the 2 best labs, that all the labs only test for 2 strains of Lyme, and there's 6 other strains, nobody tests for them. So you could have one of those other strains and the test is going to show negative. So that's just another little, I thought that was pretty interesting because I hadn't heard that before. I was like, oh,
Well, and all the
wonder.
co-infections, which
Yeah,
the
that's a
test
whole
for
other
those,
thing,
that's
yeah.
another whole topic, but there's a lot of co-infections, and even the CDC does not even acknowledge Bartonella as a co-infection. So they're out there, and they're pretty serious too, so.
So I brought some of the herbs. Okay, I brought this is my little berry box that I have the tinctures that I currently take. And I was already, you know, Stephen Buhner talked about taking some herbs before you ever get bitten just to help your immune system. So I've been taking astragalus over a long time. And it's, from what I understand, it's particularly good to take astragalus like as the actual substance of the plant. So the company I get a lot of herbs for is Pacific Botanicals. You get a whole pound, it's really inexpensive. And you can either, and I have the information on the sheet about some of the amounts and stuff, is you can just like take a certain amount of that, put it in really hot water, stir it up, You can let it sit a while, get softer. You can stir it up and then drink the whole thing, all the powder and everything. And you can put powdered eleutherococcus. So if you bought it from Pacific, you could get it powdered, I'm pretty sure. Or you can powder it up if you have a grinder. And do the same thing, just put it with astragalus, stir it up after it's in the hot water for 5 minutes or so. Drink it down twice a day. They're just really great for your immune system, your resistance, for energy. Astragalus has a lot of great qualities. It's a heart protector. I'm not gonna.
Adaptogen.
Yeah,
immune
it
support.
does. Yeah, Simon.
I just want to add something about astragalus that connects with the concerns about children and what you can do to help prevent. I think astragalus has been said by Stephen Buhner, the author of Healing Lyme, in another book that's on the counter, that if you have astragalus in your body when you get bit, it'll really help you not get as sick. Like it can really help the Lyme not dig in deep. And I feel like astragalus is a pretty safe herb for children to take. It's more of a food-like herb. And I personally cook with it and put it in like chicken soups and stuff, and it tastes great. And that's a way to get herbs into a kid, is through food and cooking.
Thank you. Yeah,
like
it
a
does
soup or
taste good.
something.
The powder, I mix it in.
Kinda sweet.
Luthero tastes fine too. Very mellow tasting stuff.
Put it in soups or juices or smoothies and stuff like that.
Is there a tincture of that too?
Yeah, you can get a tincture of that, and you could use both. You know, if you don't get one together, your tincture is very convenient. And then I made a mixture called Deep Immune, which has astragalus, eleuthero, and schisandra, which is also another adaptogen. So it's just, there are many ways to take these herbs.
And you sell that at Green Star?
Yeah, there's all green. Yeah, Green Star. I took these all off the shelf. So I have some. Yeah, so those are a few examples. Again, I really encourage you to read, and if you read, check out some different books from the library over time. You will see various things that help the theme of immunity, or help any of these themes. So one of them is the resistance. Not wait until you have a problem. Yeah. Any problem, not just Lyme disease. And then I had the brain fog and stuff, and from what I read, I forget who said it anyway, that the spirochetes can go into your brain within 24 hours. Maybe it's less, but yeah, I read 24 and I was like, oh boy.
Yeah, we just did a whole study. I just did a whole, I emailed all the doctors around the world and said, what? Yeah. And then it came back with all this research.
Yeah, so there are plants that help protect the brain. Some of them are anti-inflammatory. Actually, I made some notes on like andrographis, which is one of the anti-spirochetal, but it also and like Japanese knotweed, which you can get the extract of resveratrol as well. Those are both anti-spirochetal. They're both anti-inflammatory, and both of those help protect neurological damage in the brain and the central nervous system. They're also both heart protective, because the spirochete can go into one or more organs. So, for instance, you want me? It's okay if I mention your mom?
Oh yeah. My mom had chronic neurological Lyme disease, and it was really bad, and it went right. It was in her nervous system for years before we even knew she had Lyme disease. But she did have some cardiac stuff and definitely joint stuff. And some things would get better or worse depending on treatments, and it was very complicated and taught me a lot. Unfortunately, she passed away from Lyme disease. So people die from Lyme disease too, and we're seeing a lot more acute cardiac heart block, other cardiac issues from Lyme disease in younger people. So, and people under stress, as Becca mentioned, the people that have the hardest time, mothers, college students, people under a lot of stress, and elderly people. So that's, why we need to be aware. So, let's see, we don't have much time left. So there are a lot of things on the herbs. There are other herbs, but, one thing about protecting the liver is milk thistle. It's a completely benign herb. You can use it in various forms. There's a tincture. You can buy the bulk seeds at Green Star.
If you're gonna buy a bunch of herbs from Pacific, you have to buy a pound of each herb at Pacific. But for me, you know, I mean, you know, there's some things that I will use enough, and some things I make these tinctures out of. So milk thistle seed also tastes quite nice and mellow. So you can chew on them. You can buy more expensive extracts, tinctures. But that's a great one for helps the liver heal, protects. Helps the liver, your body get rid of toxins. It's a protectant of the liver. Let me see.
Milk thistle.
Yeah,
milk
milk
thistle
thistle, survival.
seed. Yeah, so.
I always grind it because it's much easier to consume.
Yeah, whatever works for you. And of course, you can buy capsules. I mean, capsules are the most expensive way to buy herbs, but you can. Well, actually, I haven't used my capsule maker yet. I borrowed a friend's, but mostly I have made. Just put herbs, like when I was taking turmeric several different times when I was injured. You know, I just sit there with a bowl of turmeric and take my little capsule pieces and stick them full of turmeric and stick them together, and slow process. But this is way more economical. You know, you get these at Green Star, and you'll have you can make your own capsules at you know, much less than it takes. You know, you can buy a whole, what is it, like a bottle of, I forget which herb, it might have been milk thistle, a bottle of whatever it was, maybe it was 60 capsules or something for $12. And for $12,
You get a pound of.
well, actually, I think it's more than $12
well,
now.
organics.
But yeah, I mean, you'll get, you know, for not a whole lot more money, you get a whole pound of this stuff instead
And
of
Green
like,
Star would order
like
the
a
pounds.
fraction of an ounce, you know, of capsule. So.
Not really.
Um,
And Lyme
Oh,
is
and
sexually transmitted. I just read Lyme is sexually
Oh, that's
transmitted.
the news?
Oh, yeah.
No, I knew.
No,
well,
me
no,
too.
I had heard that it wasn't clear yet.
Wait,
Yeah,
say that
It's
again?
transmitted
Yes.
through, yeah.
Sexually transmitted.
Get out of town.
Yeah. So I just thought of it when
So you are the bearer of bad news.
yeah.
But it has been proven to be transmitted through pregnancy to the
Oh, yeah.
fetus, to the baby. And that's in the documentary. There's a woman there and her
Yeah.
kids. You get to see that.
And causing miscarriage.
And there's issues with the blood supply because it's not treated in a way that will kill spirochetes. But let's just say for now.
Can one plant mint and lavender around one's house? Will that help?
I don't think so. I mean, this is.
It'll wash away.
Ticks are really rugged, and that's what Dr. Stram said too. He said,
Yeah.
stuff that works for mosquitoes won't necessarily do anything to ticks. Ticks are way more ruggedly built than mosquitoes. Yeah, that's why it's important to read this stuff, because most of the things, they get into some of the co-infection stuff. So it's important to know that. And that is why you do, I think it's on the sheet though, you never kill ticks with your fingernails, your hands. You don't touch them, because some of the co-infections go right from the tick into your skin. So that's why you use tick tools, and I say kill every tick that you find, because you let it go. I have friends, they just like drop them down. I'm like, why'd you do that? You know, it's going to be there to climb on somebody again, you know. So I put them on a rock and take another rock and squish them, but whatever, you know, if you want to probably put them down the toilet or, but yeah, whatever you do, just don't handle them. And don't try to take them off yourself, because in order to take them off yourself, you are going to squeeze the tick, and you're going to squeeze the gut material, and that could send the spirochetes into you, whereas you may not have had any of that in you yet. So you just don't do
Nothing with your body.
No,
With a
you
tool.
don't like
use a
take
tool.
your fingers and try to, because in order to get a tick, you're going to have to squeeze the body. You can't get under the head with your fingers.
I just want to say one thing about the rash. The rash can look like anything.
Yes.
A lot of people don't have
But that's-
rashes, but a
but
rash
that's those-
often rash can look like anything, and it doesn't. It often looks like a spider bite. So just because you don't have a bullseye rash, it can be a diffuse rash. It could be any kind of rash. So if you go to the doctor, I have a rash, and I had a tick bite, and don't worry about it.
It's not
It's
a
probably
bullseye.
not a Lyme disease. Yeah.
The spirochetes cannot survive outside of a host organism, from what I've read. They have to be in the creature, and then the creature, the tick transmits it to another creature and all that. So they're not like, the spirochete's not sitting there on something for you to pick up.
How do you keep mice away then?
Well, I told you about
The
using
tick
peppermint
tubes.
balls,
Oh, yeah.
the tick tubes,
Yeah.
I trap them, you know, whatever. Yeah,
The permethrin, whatever.
the permethrin, yeah.
How do you feel about its safety? It's in terms of like, it is a synthetic pesticide.
Well, I don't assume it's safe. I mean,
Right.
in fact,
It's
my
not
friend
safe.
who bought this, he said there was attached, he said, well, this is the concentrate. You don't use the concentrate as it is. But this said, if you get this on your clothes, you know, you want to get it off your clothes. You don't.
No,
put
no,
this-
it's
no,
neurotoxic.
Right.
It's neurotoxic.
But
So the
when you
research on-
dilute it, I can
Right.
tell you though, I bought the T-shirt from LL Bean, the long sleeve shirt, and the pants. Okay, but I didn't like. Once I got it, I was like, yeah, I don't really like the idea of the shirt against my skin, you know. So I wore a different T-shirt with the long sleeve shirt. But then I was in the woods. It was hot. I was sweating. I was like, I can't stand wearing this long sleeve shirt. So I took it off, took the T-shirt off, put the long sleeve shirt back on, and I was sweating. And later that day, I had a rash right here, and I was like, I know it must be the permethrin.
Right.
So you know that's why I would, you know, I
Did
don't
you
want
read-
it near my lymph node, you know. And so I actually haven't used it that much because the stuff that I bought from LL Bean, that whole thing is treated completely with permethrin, whereas at least if I spray the outside of my clothes and they dry, well, some of it probably got on the inside. So no, I'm taking a chance. I've been a
There's a
non-pesticide
eucalyptus.
person for my life, you know.
Right.
So, or
Or
know,
if you're willing to
permethrin
wear like
spray,
a regular T-shirt,
you know?
and I always have my regular underwear, and I have regular socks. I'm not putting that stuff on my feet because
Right.
feet are very absorbing.
Yeah.
The
But
bottom
You're
of the
talking
feet.
about your children, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything. So you know, I am wearing the pants when I go out. I usually don't wear them any other time. And then I'm not wearing that shirt against this part of my body at the long sleeve. But a lot of the time I've worn clothes that aren't sprayed, but I'm sort of hesitant to spray everything.
No, the kids are a problem. You have to just really carefully check them every night, especially if you're going out in the field. I mean, around your house, the tick tubes will work, but they work for a long distance because the mice carry the cotton balls farther than just their area, and it will spread. I mean, they did a study in the Hudson Valley. I think the study was with the tick tubes, and they got a large area, and they'll tell you how much per acre you need. So
Yeah, I've heard of that too.
yeah, so I mean that's why I'm suggesting that it's the least likely to get you a direct contact with permethrin.
Oh, the other thing I forgot to mention is I think it's really important, no matter how good your lighting is to have a headlamp with a really bright light. And I got this from LL Bean. Oh, I do want to say while you're leaving that, like when I get bitten, I always take a whole bunch of immune herbs. I take a whole bunch of the lymphatic herbs. I mean, I just do a number to help my immune system. I don't wait for symptoms, so that means I take a bunch of herbs for weeks every time I get bitten.
Okay, so that's all the time we have. Once again, you can find out all of this information. You can see this again, all 3 episodes, on walkinpark.com. Just go there and search for Lyme disease, and you can find all 3 episodes. Very important stuff. Thanks for your attention.